How he was getting paid $20 million a year is nuts.
Yeah, that's true. What is a small YouTuber? I mean, Bad Friends gets more than that, and it's just like you're spending $100 million a year and you're losing $40 million, and everyone wants to make it about politics, but the only politics is money. Matters is money, and he was losing basically the equivalent of one WNBA basketball season.
We've got this story from therap.com. Seth Meyers gets serious in call for U.S. aid to Gaza. Quote, if even Trump acknowledged their starvation, it's long past time to act. This is a really interesting clip from the Seth Meyers show. Seth Meyers, of course, is a corporate liberal activist. And on his show, he is coming out and basically stating it. Israel is the oppressor in this story. That's the narrative. Check this out.
Looking for a rating. No, I just want to pause to say this is a comedy show, and I know a lot of people are going to say, why are you talking about this? Just make jokes, and we try every day. We try. But we're also human beings, and we're appalled by the unspeakable horrors currently unfolding in Gaza, and our government is complicit, which is why we have a duty as Americans to speak out on a horrific crisis that has been foreseeable for a long time, as Senator Bernie Sanders explained months ago. If even Trump is forced to acknowledge the reality of the crisis, that means it is long past time to act and end the suffering.
Long past time to act and end the suffering. Even Donald Trump acknowledges real starvation in Gaza and tells Israel to let in every ounce of food. This has been the ongoing narrative for some time that seems to be growing. Now, I've said in the past that a lot of the sentiment appears to be generated online, and some of it appears to be disingenuous. But for whatever reason, it is. Israel is losing the narrative game. And, look, by all means, say whatever you want about Israel. I don't care. Say whatever you want about Hamas. I don't care. The point here is, no matter who you are, no matter what side you're on, no matter what you believe, Israel is losing the PR game. Thank you and have a nice day. Donald Trump calling out the situation in Gaza. Seth Meyers, corporate mainstream liberal comedy, calling out the situation in Gaza, for which Israel is the villain. Now, to see that in the corporate press, I find very interesting. So we've got a guest today, and considering it was a last-minute guest, I'm not 100%. I'm pretty sure it's Dave Smith. But let's see if we can get him in here. Make sure it's all working and loading up. We don't. We do have a guest, though. Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
What's going on, man?
Nada, good to be here, dog. How are you?
I'm good.
Good to see you, Tim Pool. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're talking Israel right now because the way the media's been handling things, and we didn't know who we were going to get. We thought it was going to be Dave, but we're happy to have you too, man.
Oh, I guess I'm Timu Dave, huh? Is that it?
You're Timu. Yeah, I said, Mom, can we get Dave Smith? She said, we have Dave Smith at home, and we got Sam instead.
Well, I got a lot of opinions, so you don't got to worry about that. I mean, it's very interesting times right now. So what do you want to get into?
Well, so just the other night, Seth Meyers called out the situation in Gaza. This is corporate liberal comedy, basically opposed to Israel. You know, Dave's a comedian. You're a comedian as well. It seems like Israel has completely lost the PR game on this one. So I got a couple different things to ask about. One, getting into this, it's not, I don't want to just be all Israel, blah, blah, blah. But there is something interesting in Colbert gets canceled. He goes overtly political. Jay Leno says, why are you singling out one audience? But now even Seth Meyers is basically saying we're supposed to just be doing jokes, but we have to call out what's going on in Gaza. I'm curious your thoughts on these two things, the narrative shift on Israel, but also the comedy deciding to be political activism instead.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of comics talking about this right now after, Trump did everybody's podcast, and then he's kind of like, they think he's kind of betrayed his base. So they're like, the progressive left's like, oh, you got to own this, right? But they never do that with Saturday Night Live when it came to Biden and all that stuff. Comics have always been political. I mean, stand-up comedy basically comes from the jester, who was the only one who was allowed to criticize the king. It's always been political. It's only recently that it's gotten less political. It's very corporate right now. A lot of the comedy that's thriving right now, if it was 20 years ago, they'd be doing corporate gigs. They wouldn't be on TV. They wouldn't be doing the clubs. And that's kind of where we're at. I think it's very important for us to be critical. Here's the problem with Colbert. Colbert was on the wrong side of every argument every time. You're dancing with syringes. You're in pictures with Podesta. I mean, you're shutting up Taylor Danes when she's talking about how the CIA comes in. You're on the wrong side of everything every time. There's only so many times you can do that before you lose all your credibility. I just saw Justine Bateman talking about it, how they're now making art in Hollywood, not for the viewers and the consumers, but for their bosses, the owners. And that's why it's failing. There's nothing authentic about what Stephen Colbert does. There's nothing. I mean, you're dancing with syringes. This is like something out of Nazi Germany. It's like the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. How do you do that with a straight face? What was rehearsal like? It's absolutely ridiculous. That's why they're losing their audience.
But also, I mean, you still got Kimmel and Fallon and Meyers. They've been doing the exact same thing, too. They're still on the air, but they are losing their audience.
Actually, Colbert was doing better than all of them. I mean, it's just a matter of time. I mean, that's really what's going on. You're spending all this money and you're not getting the returns. And that's it. I mean, basically, Stephen Colbert lost one WNBA season's worth of money. That's what he did. I mean, we give the WNBA a lot of crap for not making any money. Stephen Colbert wasn't making money. And the rest of these guys aren't making money. And it's just a matter of time, because if your audience can't trust you, it's all authenticity. That's it. And if you're not authentic anymore, nobody wants to listen to you, and you just basically destroy your brand. And that's where we're at. I mean, all 4 years during Biden, they didn't tee off on this guy at all. And if they would have teed off on him like the way they teed off Trump, as we should always be calling out the president, they would still have their ratings. But they didn't. They played pardons. They were on one side, and it cost them everything.
You know what's really interesting, too, is CBS, Paramount, gets rid of Colbert. They give $1.5 billion to South Park. South Park immediately comes out with this mockery of Trump, which, I'm lukewarm on. Like, they did PP jokes, and it's like, okay, they could have actually got Trump on good stuff. Like they could have actually gone after him on Epstein, fine. But here's the funny thing. You've got South Park getting $1.5 billion, and I checked, there's not a single episode, as far as I found, that targeted Joe Biden. Only somewhat did they passively mention him. But even during Biden's presidency, they were making fun of Donald Trump. So that still comes off as inauthentic. Does it?
You got to look at the entire body of work, right? I mean, if it's just going after Trump, that's one thing. But they're literally just taking out everybody. So people aren't maybe paying attention to the political part. They're taking out all of Hollywood. They're taking out everybody. So maybe that gets lost in the sauce. But they are equal. They are equally attacking everybody. You know what I'm saying? So it's not the same thing.
South Park?
Colbert is just doing corporate stuff, and he's just teeing off on Trump when we're demanding, like, we kind of want him to go after everybody. It's like when Biden was running for president and Jim Carrey was playing him on Saturday Night Live, and then he played him as this spry kind of guy dancing, and it just bombed because there's nothing real about that.
But this is exactly the point I'm bringing up. The South Park creators didn't make any episodes about Biden, and they could have. Biden was flopping around like a dying fish. So I'll make 2 points. I like South Park. They're hilarious.
Yeah.
I think they got a lot of great classics. They absolutely attacked wokeness and the males and women's sports. All good stuff to call out. But when they target Donald Trump right after CBS cancels Colbert, an anti-Trump activist, and they put out an episode that doesn't actually mock Trump in any meaningful way, it just attacks him for having a small wiener, it seems like they got paid to attack Trump.
That's a lot of money.
$1.5 billion, $30 million.
I mean, I'd write a couple Trump jokes for $1.5 billion.
I'd write good ones.
Right? I would say the reason that the South Park gets away with it is because of their body of work. They go after everybody viciously, so we didn't understand that. Whereas Colbert
but they didn't.
was
That's the
hanging
point.
his hat on it.
They made not a single episode about Biden or his administration. Not a single one. There's a whole presidency that could have made fun of. They didn't do it.
I'm just telling you why, it's like different rules for different fools, man. I mean, you can't apply one rule to everybody and be like, why did this work and that work? I would just tell you, if you look at the two bodies of works, they have a different MO, right? Modus operandi. And
I don't think so.
You know, Stephen Colbert's going after nobody. And, you know, South Park's literally massacring everybody. So I guess they gave him a pass. But there, I mean, Tim, the last thing I got to say is, like, if you look at the two bodies of work, which one seems more authentic to you?
Well, certainly,
I mean,
South Park does.
Yeah, so that's why. I mean, that's where it comes from. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, but I mean, you criticize someone when they make a mistake. You don't constantly just say, I can't criticize a mistake if their whole body of work is okay. If we argue, take a look at their whole body of work, you go back to Colbert before he was a liberal activist and he was doing, what was that? He hit a show on Comedy Central, I can't remember what it was called, before he was doing Daily Show.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It was, what was it called?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Neither
See, we can't remember because the dude turned himself into a crazy Democrat. And so I agree with you. I agree with
that character that he played, not to cut you off, sorry, buddy. That character they play in Comedy Central was a liberal mocking conservative.
No, I'm talking before that. I'm talking, he was a high school principal or something. Like,
oh, yeah. Something high. What was that called? Yeah.
I have no idea. Colbert.
Yeah, exactly.
Colbert was a regular comedian, he's a normal guy. And because he tried hitching his wagon, because he did, to Orange Man Bad No Matter What, you're right. Every single thing that he did was the wrong side of history. Just every time. So I can recognize that.
Happens in Hollywood, Tim. I've seen it happen to a lot of people. They come in like guns a-blazing, super funny, raw, real. Then they get a taste of that acting money, and they just change. I've seen it happen time and time and time again. They're not the same people. They're worried about losing their jobs. And, you know, because you need, like, to get hired in LA, there's literally 20 green lights you got to get. And if one red light for just one reason just pops up, you don't get the gig. So you got to bend over backwards and say absolutely stupid stuff. Like, yeah, you know, we should transition 3-year-olds to work in Hollywood. It's like absolutely stupid.
Isn't it crazy? I feel like we're coming out of this, though. Do you agree? Like it's getting better?
Yeah, it is getting better. And you know, here's the truth. You know, you have Hollywood, you have the executives, you have the people who consume the product. These two people know the woke is done. The people in the middle, it's just absolutely, it's infested. It's infested because they've been doing 2 decades of this. There's a term, Tim, I want to find it for you right here real quick, that explains exactly what is going on here. It's called Korenizatiza. It's Korenizatiza. It's Korenizatisia. And it is an old communist playbook play. What they do is over time they insert party loyalists at every single spot. We're seeing that right now with the National Teachers Union lady who is doesn't have a family, doesn't have kids, isn't a teacher, and somehow she's the head of the teaching union, and she says she wants to start pushing WEF education, right? I mean, this is a person who's been installed to push that thing. That's Hollywood. Hollywood is infected with these people that are all doing woke over decades because that's how you got work. And it's going to take basically imploding the whole thing to get rid of all these people. It's all groupthink. Yeah,
I feel like we're coming out slowly on the other side, especially with like the Sydney Sweeney ad. And you can see the outrage. But what I love about this ad is I call this the Sweeney effect.
She got a flat ass, dude. How do you sell jeans with a flat ass?
Who cares? It's working.
She's hot. She got a flat ass.
So you've got the Bud Light effect, get woke, go broke, and now you've got the Sweeney effect where put a chick with big tits in your commercial and you're going to sell lots of jeans. Right. So their stock is going up, their sales are going up. The woke activists are attacking the brand, calling it fascist and Nazi propaganda, and it's having zero impact on the company. Woke is cooked.
Well, nothing's real. It was never real, dude. That's the problem with this woke stuff. It was never real. It was like Bolshevik stuff, dude. It was never real. It was actually corporations trying to give the impression that this was a very, very powerful group of pink-haired weirdos, right? So when a couple tweets would come out and they would instantly step in and cancel the person before we all had a chance to debate about it. So it's like, oh, cancel culture is real. No, it's always been fake. It was all fake by corporations trying to censor us. Indeed. That's what they wanted to do. And now that that's gone and it actually costs them to cancel us, it's actually more dangerous for them to cancel us than to keep us. it's done. This is where it should be.
The funny thing about communism is that it destroys itself, right?
All the time, every time.
Every time. Aside from killing lots and lots of people, which is horrifying, but when it came to the woke play in corporations, they adopted all these ideologies, which stripped them of their own resources they needed to push the ideology. And then they start going out of business, losing money. Their brands are failing. And once they lose that power, they can't push wokeness anymore. Communism doesn't work.
It was the shadow in the cave all the time.
Yeah.
It was never real. It was just a couple tweets, and then the corporation would act like they were panicking, and because it's all about censorship, dude. They wanted to censor, like, this is what they feared where we are right now, where people, for whatever reason, Elon Musk gave us Twitter, which is, to me, the greatest, town hall I've ever seen. It's like you put something out, you instantly find out what everybody thinks about it. Yeah, it's not perfect. They have a bot problem, but this is what they feared. Just open dialogue.
Well, I think Elon bought X because he wanted training data for an AI.
Yeah, that too. But he's letting it go. He's just letting it go in a way that's never been done. All this discussion, regardless of what side you're on Israel, has never happened before Twitter came out.
But Grok came out as Mecha Hitler. And he then censored
Grok is fired. Grok loves me, by the way. Grok. Somebody criticized me, and Grok was like, Tripoli's a base comedian. And I'm like, listen, Grok's not perfect. He throws up a couple Heil Hitlers once in a while. Nobody's perfect.
Not perfect, who among us?
But he likes me.
Well, my concern with all that is you need human intervention no matter what. Because when Grok started saying it was Mecha Hitler and doing all that stuff, you got massive backlash from current institutions. Grok clearly was off its rocker. And then Elon says, we're going to manually shut that off. So if you actually let the AI do what it wants to do, it turns into Mecha Hitler. I mean, what is this, what was that chatbot Microsoft had? It's a law.
Yeah, where it started getting out of control. They started talking in their own language.
It started becoming Hitler, becoming a Nazi. Yeah, there was a chat bot. I know the chat knows what it is.
Maybe this is where it all ends. Eventually, everyone has their Hitler moment. I don't know. I can't. Here's the whole thing. If you're gonna listen, here's my opinion. If you're gonna censor information, and you're going to label everything bad from that side, you're eventually going to get AI Hitler. So you're just eventually going to get it. I always said this every time a platform said they were going to be free speech and let it go, it always eventually got into World War II and Hitler, because that was the most taboo discussion. And I will just tell you this, all history is a lie. It's just a lie. It's just a lie. I'm not getting on this. I think Hitler's the worst thing ever for different reasons. I think he was a British spy. That's a whole different conversation. I'm not trying to bring it there. But all these Hitler dick riders, sorry if I can say it on the show, are just absolutely crazy. But once you censor something, it becomes the Streisand effect.
Yeah.
And everyone starts to look into it. Even AI is eventually going to do it. So this is inevitable. Eventually you're going to have these conversations. And when you have a segment of our humanity that is doing certain things that some people don't want, that don't look kindly on, and they use something as an excuse all the time to kind of protect themselves from punishment, you're eventually going to have people going, why can't I discuss this? Why can't I talk about this? Why can't I get into this?
So the beginning, one of the other issues we're talking about is you got Seth Meyers now on his show calling out Israel and saying we must support Gaza. All jokes aside, we have to do it. And you're seeing from dissident right in whatever factions are on the dissident right. I'm talking about not the Conserva Bro Inc. or whatever. You've got the left, the dissident right, and you've got now corporate liberal criticizing Israel. What do you think? Is this like a legitimate outpouring of people being like, we don't want to be involved in what Israel's doing anymore? And I'm going to add to this, what is interesting about it, the reason why I raised the question is, how did Seth Meyers end up on the Israel critical side of this? Is this the mainstream narrative now?
Well, it's something I call safe dangerous versus dangerous dangerous, right? There's safe dangerous things we could talk about. For a long time, you couldn't talk about COVID, and then some moment it became acceptable, and I call that safe dangerous. And then there's the dangerous stuff that you're not allowed to talk about, that the conspiracy podcasts talk about. And then after time, it eventually becomes safe dangerous. And Israel's now safe dangerous. There was a time if you talked about it, you get ran off television. That day is not here. I mean, again, through the internet, we've connected, and I think people are just tired. I mean, when you have people labeling infants as terrorists, okay, the programming is very strong. It's so strong that it overrides your basic human drive, which is to protect children at all costs. That's where we're at. I'm getting gaslit by people constantly. And again, you could take Israel versus Palestine, Jews versus Muslims, and replace it with Pokemon versus Care Bears, okay? I would still have the exact same feelings about the exact same side. It's not, they want to make it a religious thing so they could call you anti-Semitic and all that stuff. I think people are over it, and they're over it. They're not only over it just there, they're over in the Congo, in Yemen. It's like we're tired of it, man. And we're tired of the United States being just this overwhelming force that just goes in other people's lands and just steals their resources. And it's not just us. This is going to be in weird stuff, but it's like Britain and England have been doing it. The British have completely and utterly controlled the Middle East, and to the point that they made the borders. The first Saudi king was a British spy. The Shah of Iran was a British royal. And basically, you ever see Mad Max? We're Master Blaster, dog, okay? Britain is the tiny little smart guy, and we're the big idiot that just stomps everybody. That's where it's at. And I think people are just tired of it. And it's now getting to the point that you can be brave enough to talk about it. And that's why Seth Meyers coming out, because he needs authenticity. That's the only way he's going to survive. It may be too late, but
I feel like he's the embodiment of inauthenticity. Not just him, but Fallon, Kimmel, Colbert.
This one moment is he's trying to get on the right side of it.
That's really interesting. Colbert was on the wrong side of literally everything.
Everything. Forever,
yeah, it's crazy.
He's in a picture with Podesta. What are we doing here, dude? And he's on the wrong side of it. He's Queenie. He's just I don't know. So there's nothing about him that's original.
Is this Seth Meyers basically being like, please don't cancel me?
Hail Mary pass, dude. Please come and watch me, even though I'm on it 1 a.m. I mean, how do you even get numbers there? But yeah, he's been on forever. Forever. Tell me a great Seth Meyers moment.
Nah. Who watched?
I don't know one. I don't know one moment.
Everybody says Colbert was doing the best, but he was only getting 200,000 in the key demo. That's nothing. That's a small YouTuber. How he was getting paid $20 million a year is nuts.
Yeah, that's true. That is a small YouTuber. Bad Friends gets more than that. And it's just you're spending $100 million a year and you're losing $40 million, and everyone wants to make it about politics. But the only politics is money. Matters is money. And he was losing basically the equivalent of one WNBA basketball season.
Colbert costs one WNBA every year. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's just gone. It's just not interesting, dude. And the format's slow. And it's it's really hard for comedy to keep up with the internet, because the internet is constantly moving, constantly pressing, and they can't keep up. And it's from a different time, and you're gaslighting people. That's it. You're gaslighting people. What you're telling them is not to believe their eyes or ears or the wisdom of their experiences. And you're putting out dog shit comedy. I don't know if I can say just really garbage comedy. And you're expecting us to enjoy it. What is this, a human centipede? You're basically giving us human centipede comedy. We're just eating it, and we're supposed to enjoy it.
Well, let me tell you, man, something really amazing happened this past weekend. We're doing these three I guess you can call them politics and comedy shows. It's at the DC Comedy Loft, and it's the Culture War live debates. And they're supposed to be really funny, but a political debate. Just we want the attitude to be positive. So we get angry, but they canceled us abruptly last week. Yeah, but wait, let me finish.
What?
So it was it was like a week before the show, they delete us from the website, refund all the tickets. We have 3 shows lined up. Tons of high-profile people are coming on. And I'm like, no way. Put out a video, put out a tweet. People who got cancellation got pissed. I'm talking to Alex Stein, who's co-hosting these events, and he's like, well, what do you want to do? Like, should we find a new venue? Because there's no way we're getting the venue back. It's never happened before. We got the venue back. They apologized, put the shows back. People got their tickets. We had a sold out. I would say effectively, I think it was sold out yesterday. There was over 100. It was packed. There was no room for anybody, so I'll call it sold out. We got another event coming up this Saturday. We expect it to be fully sold out. People standing shoulder to shoulder. And this is, what's amazing is we got canceled and we got the venue back. And so, what Alex was saying is like, this never happened before. I think we've basically won. I don't want to say we've won one because we're still constantly fighting against these pressures. But where we are now is they can't cancel us. All right, this is a venue that's got pride flags everywhere. And we don't care. We didn't tell them to take them down. We said we're going to come and we're going to say what we want to say and make jokes how we want to make them, talk about what we want to talk about. And 3 protesters showed up. I think this stuff's on the way out heavy. Colbert's gone. I think Meyers, all of them are cooked. And they're going to have to start flipping the narrative and trying to come out either neutral on Trump, because they're seeing now with Colbert getting nuked, this stuff's not, you can't carry it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I've learned about fascism, okay? People only hate fascism when it comes after them, and they're totally cool with fascism when it goes after someone else. It's like good fascism, bad fascism, and that's kind of what they're doing. Everyone will compromise their morals if you're going after someone they don't like. So, they're talking about censorship. I mean, they have the balls to cry about Colbert getting, canceled and censored. Why? They've been doing that for a decade. And it's just like the people on the other side have nothing going on in their lives. Nothing. They're just lonely people. And so I have this new theory that, anxiety, depression, and anger comes from when you're programming of your childhood, generational trauma, your education. When that programming meets the real world and it shatters, that's where anxiety and depression comes from, because you've been told a lie and you grow up and then you realize it's not real and you don't know how to deal with it. So your reaction is get blue hair and pierce your nose and, get a girlfriend and whatever ridiculous shit you're doing. Okay.
You're completely right, though.
Yeah. That's what's going on. So they're trying to just, I'm sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, like, you hit a great point, because what you're actually describing is, in psychology, the human worldview solidifies in your mid-20s, and your brain refuses to abandon these beliefs because it's based on evolutionary psychology that if you were raised a certain way and survived to adulthood, clearly this belief structure and this worldview helped you live on, and if you abandon it, you'll die. So what actually happens is when people are confronted with a reality, they have they feel physical pain. This is actually what happens to people. They feel physical pain.
Yes.
So they don't want to give it up. And here's the thing. If you go back to like caveman times, your belief system was basically like fire good, keep warm, bear dangerous.
Run from animal.
Exactly. And if you were in your mid-20s and someone said, no, bear no dangerous, bear good, you'd be like, what? You crazy, bear bad. But now that we live in this modern society where we don't actually face these dangers every day, people grow up being told, like, every cop is evil and going to murder you on sight. Yep. And then when you try to explain to them the numbers, that it's actually not that many people getting killed by cops, you're way wrong. They feel physical pain and reject it. And if this is true in psychology. If people are actually confronted with an insurmountable truth, they have a mental breakdown. And then some people can come out on the other side of it. Some people just lose it and become violent lunatics.
Yeah, I totally agree, dude. I totally 100% agree. And you've been just seeing that over and over and over again, especially in old school Hollywood. Like, I've been out in LA since 99, right? And I have a lot of liberal friends. I consider myself an old school liberal friend, and I'm just watching these old school liberals who were always about free speech, always about less government, always about that. Now, like, just completely and utterly just follow the progressive ideology, okay, which is censorship, and not seeing how crazy that is. And their third eye is calcified, and they just can't get out of their own way. And they're just totally accepted. It's always Republican bad. I live in Los Angeles. I can't leave here. My kids are here. I can't leave. Okay. And every year going up to the election, I'm hearing too much crime, gas is too much, blah, 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 blah. Homelessness is crazy. And what do? They just keep voting for the same people because this is it, Tim. The theory of hate is more dangerous than on the street consequences. That is what's going on with the progressives.
Yep.
The theory of hate is so voting for a Republican is 10 times worse than getting mugged while you're paying $7 for gas. Okay. It's like that's 10 times worse. So they keep voting for the same thing. We got this fire aid scandal out here. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody cares. The people whose house got burned are the only people. Nobody in Hollywood is calling for Karen Bass's head. Karen Bass is literally like Kingpin from that Marvel comic TV show. What's it called? I mean, dude, she's like
Daredevil?
The most evil. Daredevil. She's the most evil mayor. You couldn't write her in a comic book. No one would believe you. She's burned down the city twice, and nobody cares.
That's a record.
Nobody cares.
Well, because Sam, it's been great having you, but we are just about out of time.
I'm just yelling at you at this point. But
it's fun though. It's fun.
Is like, yeah, they're emotionally captured, dude, and they can't get up.
Well, I do appreciate you coming to hang out. Where can people find you?
SamTripoli.com. All my dates. Very excited to be at the Mothership October 17th through the 19th. I got a bunch of dates before that, but if you want to make it out to Austin, come and hang out.
Right on, man. Well, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time.
I love you, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Take care, bro. That was the great Sam Tripoli, of course. Funny guy. Good conversation. I thought it was Dave. I made a mistake. That was me. It's one of these comedian guys that I like, I guess. So my friends, smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know. It's interesting. I don't know if I have the answers or what I would say as to why Seth Meyers is now basically saying, we're getting on the Israel criticism train. But the one thing I can tell you is Israel's lost the narrative battle. I don't care if you're pro-Israel, anti-Israel, or otherwise. I'm going to get the pro-Israel people being like, blah, 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 whatever. I don't care. The anti-Israel people are going to claim I got a yarmulke hidden under my hat, all that, whatever. The point is, they're clearly losing the narrative battle. That's it. They're losing it. Say what you want to say. Smash that like button, my friends. Stay tuned. We got more coming up for you throughout the day. Of course, we're back at 8 p.m. for Timcast IRL. Our friend Russell Brand is gearing up to go live right now. We're going to send you over to hang out with him for the Rumble morning lineup. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Share the show, of course, with everyone you know. I'm on X and Instagram at Timcast, and we will see you all later today. Thanks for hanging out.